This week on Basquatch Hunter TV.
My name is Mike McKinstry. I travel the country with a fishing rod, a kayak, and a camera in search of adventure and the one big mythical fish that we call the Basquatch. We fish for any species we can, but we have a huge passion for bass fishing. Along our travels, we look for adventure, exploring, and new ways to catch fish and have as much fun as we possibly can. Not only do we release our fish back to the water, but we also find new and exciting ways to give back to local communities and to pay it forward. So make sure you take care of the water you touch, the fish you catch, and the people you meet. And welcome to Basquatch Hunter TV.
This is Mike McKinstry with Basquatch Hunter TV, and today we're gonna go for a little bit different of a species here, and we're gonna go for crappie and panfish today. So I'm gonna be using my lighter rod, which is a 6'6" medium fast from FX Custom Rods. Now this is the Extreme Angler Series Generation 3. It's the lightest rod I have. They do make a rod lighter than this one that's even better for panfish, but I like having a little more backbone to pull out the bigger panfish out of the weeds. So today, this will be my main rod for the day. So I'm gonna go throw this in a kayak, we'll get loaded up, and we'll go hit the water. Now with a day like today, with the overcast, with a chance of rain, I'm really hoping we're gonna find these panfish sitting on drop-offs, sitting underneath docks, and hopefully in my kayak. So let's push out and see what we can get.
Basquatch Hunter TV is brought to you by FX Custom Rods, quality, precision, performance. Yak Gear, your rules. Railblazer, hold everything. Z-Man Fishing Products, the science and art of fishing. Raximus Outdoors, a revolution in rod storage. Feel Free Kayaks. Three Waters Kayaks.
Here we go. There we go, right next to the kayak. So this one's more like the size of my hand right here, but still a fun fight and still a crappie, so it's still the target fish. So let's get him in the water and let's get some more. There we go. Oh no way, it's a good one too. It's a good one. Oh, he came off of the net. He came off of the net. It's a big one. First time we cast it over here. Look at this. Dude, if that's not a big monster crappie. Jeez. Look at that thing, dude. That's exactly what we're looking for out here. Look at the size of that crappie. Dude, have you ever caught a crappie that big? This thing fought like a bass, like a smallmouth bass. Dude, this thing is so big. Oh my gosh. I gotta get a picture on the board with him, dude. It's a master angler for sure. I cannot believe that we caught the big one already. Look at the size of this crappie. Look at this. This is incredible how big this thing is. Look at that. It's the size of a bass. It's the size of a bass. This is like a 15-inch crappie. We're gonna have to measure this, get out on the board, and see what we got here. But this is exactly what you're looking for when you're hunting for crappie out on freshwater lakes in Michigan. It's a nice big monster slab like this one right here. So let's get them on the board, get a picture, get it back on the water, and keep on fishing for some more. There we go. A lot of cast right underneath that boat. If I can get the bait to drop all the way to the bottom, by the time it hits the bottom, I should have a strike. That's why I like the curly tails too, is they get action just falling. I don't get to use curly tail grubs for bass too often, so using them for crappie is a big change up for me. Oh, fish on. Look at that little bass. Look at that little guy. It's like my bait was catching bait. The thing was hilarious. I didn't know what was on there because it was fighting way too hard for it to be a panfish. All right, so I'm working this bait super slow, and I'm letting it hit the bottom, and then just popping the curly tail, letting it just pop around on the bottom like that. Hopefully it's gonna get the attention of these big panfish. I'm waiting for that big crappie to strike. Just like any kind of panfish with crappie, it's all about patience, and it's all about finding out where they're at. They usually sit in schools. A lot of times they sit in vertical schools, so they stack up on top of each other. It makes it a lot easier to locate them. Once you find one, it's usually pretty easy to find a whole school of them. But now we're just gonna get them to bite on the fall and see if we get that curly tail to move upward. So when that gust hits is when it starts turning me sideways. Here we go. Ah! It's really hard with crappie is they're called paper mouths too, is one of the nicknames for them, because their mouth is so thin you can see through it, it's transparent. So when you're setting a hook on a crappie, sometimes, especially with a small hook, sometimes you pull it right out. You don't even get a chance to even fight him yet. And I think that's what I just did right there, is I had a really good tug on my bait, and I went to set the hook, and I might have pulled it a little too quick, and pulled it right through his mouth. You gotta be very delicate, but you have to be consistent when you put pressure on these fish. Here we go. Here we go. Another good sized crappie right here. Whew. Man, this little grub is pretty effective. Not quite as big as the other one, but you know, they're still fun, and it's still a great fish right there. One of the keys to fighting these two, to pulling them in, is to make sure you're keeping pressure on them, but you don't want to rip them up because you're gonna pull it right out of the mouth. Right in the same area as that big one is from. But we gotta find his bigger brothers now. So let's get this one back in the water, and let's go hunt for some more. Once you get on a stack of crappie, it's usually, oh, here we go, here we go. It's usually like this, right here. As soon as you get a stack of them, you should be able to catch them pretty quickly after that. So here's another medium-sized one right here. Not a terrible one. So make a good little fight at least on a small rod. All right, let's get it back in the water, cast back in that same spot, and let's get some more. The last two I caught going this way. That first one I caught going that way. I don't know if it matters which direction it's swimming by them right now at this point. I think it's a matter of just swimming it in front of their face. Because it's a really small strike zone is what it seems like. It's like a 2-foot circle that I have to be in. And if I don't go inside that 2-foot circle, then I'm not really getting the hook up. But as soon as I enter that little strike zone area, they strike pretty quick. That's what's cool about crappie too, is when they hit, you can feel them hit. They hit pretty hard, they hit with purpose. They bite to eat, not to taste. Didn't expect to get that one. I dropped the bait in the water right next to me, and there was a crappie there waiting for me. Sometimes it's that simple where you can vertically jig right next to your kayak and put it on the bottom of a weed bed, pull out some crappie. If you can drop a grub right next to your boat and pull one up like that, then they're sitting still. They're not moving anywhere. I just want to see if there's another big one over there. glad I put this bait on. It have all the crappie baits that I bought, that I brought with me too. And I was like, what am I gonna start with? I'm like, pink and white. They're pretty effective. So this is one of the biggest benefits of having a pedal drive kayak too, is on days like today when the gusts are blowing us around, we can't stay in our spots that we're trying to hit, I can pedal in place and kind of spot lock a little bit and keep my kayak in the same spot. And it gives me the ability to fish a spot more often and keep the bait in the strike zone a lot longer too. So the pedal drive kayak is one of the huge benefits of it, is when you're in winds and you need to keep your position, you can pedal while you're fishing the whole time. Here we go. This is a good fish. Oh, and he came off. That was a good fish. That was a good fish, whatever that was. A little bass. Little teeny bass. A couple on beds right here. One of them just struck it. Oh, wow, I'm surprised. That was a great cast. Here we go. So even with these little guys right here, it's important to have a really sensitive rod, like the 6'6" medium fast rod from FX Custom Rods, so you can feel even these little guys grab the end of the bait and you know when it's at the hook. So make sure you use a sensitive rod when you're fishing for small fish like this. Here we go. That's why they call them paper mouths right there, is they have really thin mouths so they come out unhooked really easily, but that's what we're out here fishing for right here, is these nice little crappie and inland Michigan lakes. Here we go. That's gonna be one of the smallest little rock bass. That little fat rock bass. There we go. Caught this one right at the end of a dock, about 10 foot deep. Let the bait hit the bottom, lifted up a little bit, and this thing just smoked it from underneath that boat. These are so much fun. All right, so we had an awesome day on the water today. Caught a monster crappie squatch and a bunch of little guys with it too. So make sure when you're looking for panfish, you remember, stay patient, use a sensitive rod, and have some fun, guys.
More fishing is coming up next on Basquatch Hunter TV.